Now, the Veterans Minister has been to Aylesford in Kent today, visiting the Royal British Legion Industries Village. It's where veterans can get help and housing if they're struggling after leaving the military. Well, Johnny Mercer arrived shortly after the Chancellor announced he was putting aside £30 million for veterans in this week's budget. But there was no promise of cash for the RBLI, despite its need for money to complete the latest phase of its centenary village. Sarah Smith reports.
Two ministers, both ex-military themselves, arrived at the RBLI village today. Tom Tugendhat as the local MP, the Veterans Minister doubling down on his promise there'll be no homeless veterans by the end of the year.
We've got £30 million out of the budget for veterans housing. I mean, it's extraordinary. Never happened before in the UK, that amount of money given into the veterans space from a Treasury announcement. So it's a revolution in veterans housing, and we need to use good models like this to make sure we get it right.
Veterans arrive here needing support and are helped back to some form of independent living. Vicky had PTSD after 19 years in the medical corps, which included tours of Iraq and Afghanistan.
I was that sergeant in the British Army, and then I was just Vicky. I had a purpose, if you like, when I was serving, and then when I left, I just thought, what am I going to do now?
This is the main living space.
This apartment is part of the centenary village, opened as the charity reached 100 in preparation for the next century of caring for veterans. But they need £5 million more to finish the next phase.
We had 22 referrals in one day for our homeless accommodation when we had the real cold spell. If we were to build houses, the remaining houses that we need to build, they would be full the day after we finish them. And so that £5 million will actually provide over 40 new homes for people who desperately need them.
There were sadly no promises of government cash today, despite vocal support for, among other things, a new unit dedicated to women vets.
I served in Afghanistan and Iraq alongside an extraordinary number of women. In the intelligence corps that I was in, about half the officers were women. So, it demonstrates the contribution that women are already making, well, this was 20 years ago, that they were making 20 years ago to our operational capability. So, of course, those women are now veterans. We need to adapt the veterans' journey. We need to adapt the veterans' support to include everybody.
Natasha, formerly in military intelligence, has built a new career with the help received here.
I had lots of different coaching on CVs and interview and prep sources that I could get funding from for businesses.
Sarah's husband was a veteran. She's now widowed, but the support will continue.
It's not just him, it's the families as well are so looked after. The partners are treated just as well as the veterans here.
They've helped me in a lot of ways, housing and welfare support. I know where I can go if I'm having a bad day.
Something they want to offer even more veterans in years to come. Sarah Smith, BBC South East Today, Aylesford.